Good evening, everyone. Is this on? Can you hear me okay? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Sheriff Scott Rose from the Dodge County Sheriff's Office. It's an honor to be here tonight, and on behalf of the Board of Directors for the Southeast Minnesota Law Enforcement Memorial Association, I want to welcome everybody to our 2026 Law Enforcement Memorial Program here in Rochester. Tonight, we gather to remember 45 heroes, to remember and honor 45 heroes here in Southeast Minnesota who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. Their service, courage, and dedication to their communities will never be forgotten. This evening is also about recognizing and honoring you, our survivor families. We understand that while the line of duty death may have happened for some of you many, many years ago, the sacrifice and loss truly never end for the survivor families. Your strength, your support, and your commitment to preserving your loved ones' legacies inspire all of us that continue to serve in law enforcement. Please know this foundation remains deeply committed to ensuring your heroes' stories and the lessons they leave behind continue to be shared for generations to come. We do that through this annual memorial program, through ongoing educational efforts. We have school groups that come through here and we give tours and we talk about our fallen heroes and talk about their stories. And it's pretty rewarding to see the response, the reaction of the children that come up. And then through this incredible memorial behind us, they'll be remembered long after we're gone. So you can be assured of that. As you'll notice in tonight's program, if you open it up, there's an insert. We're going to recognize several significant anniversaries this year. 30 years ago, Royce County Deputy John Liebenstein was killed May 3rd, 1966. 50 years ago, Waseca County Sheriff Donald Eustace was killed September 4th, 1976. 70 years ago, actually 50 years ago before that, 50 years ago, Rochester Police Department lost Sergeant Lloyd Find. That was on February 27th, 1976. 70 years ago, the Le County Sheriff's Office lost Deputy Robert Moravec on April 27th, 1956. And 150 years ago, Faribault police officer Henry Kaepernick was killed on October 1st, 1876. And to me, it's just so rewarding to have a fallen officer who's been gone 150 years still be remembered each year and remembered here in Rochester and in Southeast Minnesota to make sure his service and his sacrifice is never forgotten. You can learn more about each of these heroes by visiting our website that's listed on the program. Also, many of their stories can be heard. They each have also a memorial page on the Officer Down Memorial podcast. All the anniversaries today, their stories are produced, so you can listen to their stories as well and look at some very, very cool photos that families have shared honoring their fallen hero. So make sure you check that out on our website. Tonight is about remembrance. It's about honoring lives of service, and it's about making certain these heroes and the families they left behind are never forgotten. At this time, please stand if you're able as we welcome the Honor Guard to post the colors and officially begin tonight's program.
Ready, face. Ready, hold. Officers, present arms! Present arms.
Whatsoever
Order. Arm. Left. Face. Ready. Step.
Is Chaplain Larry Orth here? That's not. Okay, I'm going to pinch hit. Let's pray. Father, there are so many things that we have to be thankful for. Father, we are thankful for a nation where we get to experience the freedom. Lord, the freedom that costs many lives through our service people and through our law enforcement. And in these things, Father, we are just glad to be able to rejoice. Rejoice for those who have made the commitment of their lives to serve in these capacities. And Father, especially to be able to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice. We are thankful for the survivor families, Lord, who, along together with all of us, make sure that their memories and their service is never forgotten. Father, as we gather this evening, we ask you to come and be present, to minister, Lord, by your Spirit, to bring comfort and peace to those who yet mourn. And Father, also as we have the opportunity to celebrate the lives and the gifts of God that you have given to those that operated in law enforcement and still do today, we give you thanks for these people and say thank you, Lord, for their commitment to us, for the freedoms that we get to continue in each day. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Please be seated. On the program, it says update. Whew. That's awesome. It's nice to be able to do that and to be able to do it right here. And I thought a lot about what this was going to look like tonight and how I go through this. And I just said, you know what, keep it very simple. And it's basically a lot of what I'm going to say is what I said last fall at our dedication, is just kind of lead you through the elements of this memorial so that we can, again, continue to educate, continue to share, and you can continue to share what this place means, and that the work that our board has gone to great lengths in working on and navigating all the challenges that come with what you're looking at here is as close as I can get. Probably we're getting closer to about $850,000 in cash donations that we have put into this place. And when you start thinking about the in-kind donations, the in-kind support that has been given here as well, this the giving of people's hearts, giving of people's time, the work to lay every single brick and to lay the sod, and obviously the names on the wall behind is just painstakingly done with the effort that we know how important it is to every one of you, every one of the survivors. So just going to try to get through this. Mother Nature is, I shouldn't say it, I'm not going to talk about it. She's been kind of threatening lately, and I think she's maybe heard some of our prayers, Chaplain. We'll see. So to start with, and it was a question I got asked just a few minutes ago by one of our media friends, and that is, I answered it, that the greatest fear a family has when there is a sudden loss of a loved one, especially in law enforcement, in the profession that we chose, is that they will be forgotten. And as Scott said a little bit ago, that's what this is all about. We don't want anyone to ever be forgotten that has served their community and left us in a whatever tragic way it was, whether it was some level of assault or a medical issue, car crash. They're all represented behind me, and we don't ever want them to be forgotten. So this place will honor and remember those, your family members, listed on the wall behind me for generations to come. And as I mentioned already, the board has really worked hard to do everything they can to make every corner of this place meaningful. So the logo, many of you are sitting on the pavers, and the logo is on the programs. You can see it in various corners and positions. It means a lot. The shield is represented there as the most common shape of badge in law enforcement across the world. The 5 intertwined shields form a star, creating the other most common peace officer badge, the share that in the United States most sheriffs wear, the 5-pointed star. The 5 shields all represent the 5 levels of law enforcement in our country: municipal, county, state, federal, and police, military police. The shields are interconnected and representing the togetherness and strength that is formed from the inseparable bond of brother and sisterhood amongst peace officers and their families. And at the time of the line of duty death or a serious incident, injury incident, peace officers, staff, their agencies, as well as other first response personnel link arms to stand as one in support of the fallen, their families, communities, and agencies. The logo is also the shape of the forget-me-not flower. A German legend bears the story of a knight in full armor walking with his princess along a river, and he fell in. He struggled under the weight of his armor, trying to pull himself up from the water, clawing at the bank to climb out. He pulled on a bunch of flowers, hoping they could bring him up. And as he reached in and hollered at his bride, his princess, he was falling in. In his hand, he clutched and he gave it to her, the flowers, and said, "Forget me not." They happened to be the forget-me-not flower, as we know that today. It says it's a legend. Sounds like a really true story, and quite a story in its own right. The blue represents peace, and all peace officers currently serving together, forming the thin blue line that's lit up on the obelisk behind you. The mourning band that officers wear is placed over one of the shields in front, right in the direct shield in front of me on that logo. The mourning band is a universal symbol worn by the officers from the time of the officer's death during the funeral of their fallen comrade until the date of the end of their shift at the end of that day. The 21 sentinels, the trees up here on our hillside, silently stand and watch over these guys and gals that are on our wall, 45 officers. The number 21 comes from the several references in military and law enforcement. Most common firing parties, they fire 3 volleys. You'll hear that tonight with 7 shooters, are made up of soldiers that, doing that math, it comes to 21. At the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington and at our very own State Memorial in St. Paul, the officers and soldiers walk 21 steps in each direction repeatedly all day long and all night, regardless of the weather, regardless of the circumstance. And the highest form of salute the President of the United States can offer is a 21-gun salute, which is commonly reserved for a fallen president or foreign heads of state, only approved by the President of the United States. A gun in the military is more commonly referred to as a cannon or artillery, like on the other side of our Veterans Memorial here in Soldiers Field Memorial Park. The obelisk has 10 sides to it, with smooth and diamond cuts, creating a roughness to the touch like the memorial wall behind me. The smooth diamond cut stone symbolizes the spit-shined and polished new officer ready to make a difference in our communities. The rough pieces symbolize the officer who has served for some time and experienced difficulties society's harms have brought to themselves and to others. The 5 symbols near the top of the obelisk identify the 5 levels of peace officers serving throughout our history. These symbols are there as well as on the wall behind me next to each officer's name, representing the level of law enforcement they served. And the thin blue line shines brightly day and night for generations to come and symbolizes the line between the lawless and the innocent. It represents the men and women serving our communities today. The Wall of Honor behind me, the most important feature, lists the name of a fallen officer, their agency, and end of watch date. 45 names to this point in our history in southeast Minnesota. Some names recently discovered were lost in history, and now we remember, and will always be publicly remembered. To be included, an officer must have served, was educated, or lived in southeast Minnesota region. So if you get up here and you look at the wall later tonight or any other time you come and visit, you'll see officers from outside of our region, but they came from here. They're one of us, and so we wanted to remember them. The manner of death must be connected to their service to their community. 21 killed by gunfire, 10 medical related, 1 PTSD suicide, 10 vehicle assaults or crashes, and 3 physical assaults. The flags represent the state of Minnesota, the United States of America, and the original thin blue line. They stand at half-mast today at this point. During the ceremony and during some of the music that will be beautifully played tonight, those flags will be raised. All officers swear an oath to support and protect the Constitution of the United States and the state of Minnesota, and will do so to the best of their judgment and abilities by joining the thin blue line, protecting our communities and all people within. The gardens behind us and on the walls, the landscaping, were designed to bloom in the spring, summer, and fall. And there's a few blue or purplish ones over here right now. And if you come back at various times throughout the seasons, you will see other flowers brilliantly blooming. So they are on display, and each day and night it is a symbol of God's creative glory in all of us and these officers, which we cherish their memories living in our hearts and minds. The boulders over here at the entrance, 4 of the 6 of them were once part of the landscaping at the Olmsted County Government Center and Law Enforcement Center when we relocated to our current government center here in Rochester and Olmsted County. Formerly, as we know it, the Osmond Building, and now a big hole in the ground and becoming part of the Bold Forward and Unbound project with Mayo. The garden pathways, if you walk silently through them at some point in time, while you're walking, you can hear the rocks crunching beneath your feet. As you experience the garden, you will hear what we tell the children, as Scott said in these tours. You hear the footsteps of our fallen, silently walking beside you. The benches are a new feature. We're so proud of them. The benches were sold out last year and placed in November and engraved just a few weeks ago. We have space for more, possibly 3 or 4, if you're interested. Please, if you haven't yet checked them out, please do. After the program, walk around, see the path, follow the path, and read each engraving chosen by the owners of the benches. They all have special meanings. The capstone behind me, the top angled piece that's up above the wall of honor here, was recently added and will be labeled in just a few weeks. So again, come back again. It will proudly proclaim this is the Peace Officers Memorial. There's a picture of it on the table as you leave. You can see what it will look like. As I was talking to our engraver, Kyle Larson, this afternoon, it's going to happen in certainly the next couple of weeks, he said. The irrigation, hopefully won't come on during the program, was added last fall and turned on just a few weeks ago. So you might need your umbrellas just for that. We got to shut off. I'm just joking. But the irrigation was turned on and will keep this place in beautiful shape as the summer moves forward. So it was pretty dry last fall, so it's a little brown yet, but once the irrigation kicks in, it'll be just a gorgeous place. So what is left to be done, you ask? The memorial detail on the back of this wall of honor will depict inscriptions and pictures of scenes during various phases of law enforcement and military funerals or memorial services. The idea is to educate. What does the 21 gun salute sound like, or the 3 volleys and the taps and everything you're going to hear tonight and you've heard over and over in other ceremonies if you've attended. That will be the backside here. The caisson, the riderless or caparison horse, bagpipes and their origin in law enforcement, bell tolls and flyovers all have special meaning as they happen at a funeral or a memorial service, both in law enforcement as well as in the military. The 2 smaller back walls are reserved for depictions of officers leaving their families and then returning home, hopefully each night. Handling calls of missing children, domestic violence, mental health and drug issues, traffic stops, training and more. It's all in a day's work. And we'll leave some space for future generations to add, because we don't know when they're going to start using hovercrafts and whatever else out there. So we're going to leave some space for the future. And then over here to my left, to your right, the open space there next to the walls and the landscaping is the fallen canine area. We don't have a fallen canine in our region, thankfully, but we do want to honor our canine partners anyway. So at some point, our Rochester and Olmsted County Canine Foundation is now actively, as I'm told, raising funds to place a canine memorial that will be over here just in the case that we do have a canine that is killed in line of duty. We've had them across the state of Minnesota, just fortunately not one here. And hopefully we don't ever have to put one on there, but we do want to honor our canine partners as well. And then the last thing that's still to be done is at the entrance or exit over here by the boulders, we would like to at some point place a kiosk or plaques that will help describe the memorials, some of these elements, so that our visitors who come from Mayo and all over the world, as I've been here many times and run into different people, and I think some of you have as well, we want them to be educated even more so. And so we want to tell them about our donors, we want to tell them about our website, and we want to tell them about what this means and why it looks the way it looks. So as we promised, our City of Rochester Park and Rec Department, for the use of this space to maintain and sustain it, that we would continue to take as best care of it as possibly can, not using public funds, but non-private or non-public private donations from here to eternity. So we will always be raising funds. We will always be looking for ways to continue this beautiful space and keep it alive as long as we possibly can, and hopefully, as I said, for eternity. So there's your update. There's a lot been going on, and at this point, I think we'll turn it over to Becky and the crew. Thank you so much. Yes. Another prayer? Oh, the law enforcement prayer. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Thank you. Jennifer, there you are. Oh, that's you. There you are.
Sorry. Thank you, Sheriff. Good evening. I never dreamed it would be me, my name for all eternity to see. Recorded here at this hallowed place, alas, my name, no more my face. In the line of duty, I hear them say, my family now the price to pay. My folded flag stained with their tears, we only had those few short years. The badge no longer on my chest, I sleep now in eternal rest. My sword I pass to those behind, and pray they keep this thought in mind. I never dreamed it would be me, and on my heavy heart and bended knee, I ask for all those here from past, dear God, let my name be the last.
I know my time will come when I lived another song. I'm a bleeding heart boy, learning to drive, standing next to you like a bluebird with brand new wings. I'll stumble through smoke. Got a pan for a hat, got a stick for a gun. Salute to you. Like a bluebird with brand new wings, I'll stumble through anything. Someday I'll climb that mountain, help me down the other side. Someday I'll climb that mountain, help me down the other side. I know that my days are numbered. I had a feeling all along. The girl I loved left me inspired, and now I'm standing next to you like a bluebird with brand new wings. I'll stumble through anything. Someday I'll climb that mountain, help me down the other side. Someday I'll climb that mountain, help me down the other side. Someday I'll climb that mountain, help me down the other side. Someday I'll climb that mountain, help me down the other side.
It's time now for the placement of the flowers. We have the honor guard up front with the roses as our three name readers call the name of your fallen hero. If you're family or an officer, you're welcome to come up, grab a rose, and place the rose in the basket in their honor.
Matthew Hamilton, Winona Police Department. End of watch, December 3rd, 1874. Henry William Kaepernick, Faribault Police Department. End of watch, October 1st, 1876. David Jennings Shipley, Faribault Police Department. End of watch, January 8th, 1883. Bradley Rogers, Lake City Police Department. End of watch, July 26th, 1892. Louis Joaquin, Faribault Police Department, end of watch, May 6, 1895. Judson H. Randall, Albert Lee Police Department, end of watch, November 6, 1899. Ole Havey, Hayfield Police Department, end of watch, December 30th, 1905. James C. Daly, Red Wing Police Department, end of watch, January 16th, 1907. John Peterson, Red Wing Police Department, end of watch, January 16th, 1907. August Olson, Minnesota DNR, end of watch, March 19th, 1922. Christian Johnson, Lisle Police Department, end of watch, October 5th, 1922. Lawrence Edward Doughton, the Department of Justice, Immigration and Naturalization Service, end of watch, August 24th, 1930. Adolph Melvin Holt, Minnesota DNR, end of watch, July 12th, 1940. Dudley Philip Brady, Minnesota DNR, end of watch, July 12th, 1940. Marcus Emerson Whips, Minnesota DNR, end of watch, July 12th, 1940. Lemick Arthur Larson, Waseca County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, September 29th, 1940.
Joseph W. Herzog, Austin Police Department, end of watch, July 1st, 1945. Neil Riley Johnson, Blooming Prairie Police Department, end of watch, December 22nd, 1951. Walter William Krugel, Fillmore County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, November 10th, 1954. Robert John Moravec, LeSueur County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, April 27th, 1956. William Henry Freitag, Rochester Police Department, end of watch, March 14th, 1961. Ronald Edward Shager, Minnesota DNR, end of watch, February 22nd, 1967. Floyd Joseph Haley, Rochester Police Department, end of watch, August 6th, 1967. Lloyd Anthony Find, Rochester Police Department, end of watch, February 27th, 1976. Donald Dean Eustace, Waseca County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, September 4th, 1976. Jack Dean Warner, Olmsted County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, May 17th, 1977. John F. Jack Terrio, Montgomery Police Department, end of watch, August 24th, 1979. John Joseph Schneider, Winona County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, September 7th, 1980. Eugene Bernard Sutton, Rochester Police Department, end of watch, November 13th, 1985. Gregory Lynn Lang, Claremont Police Department, end of watch, July 5th, 1988. Terry Francis Hanson, Rice County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, March 11th, 1994.
Richard Dale Waldron, Goodhue County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, February 23rd, 1995. John Warren Liebenstein, Rice County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, May 3rd, 1996. Gary Paul Friedley, U.S. Department of Treasury and Customs. End of watch, March 4th, 1998. Douglas Eugene Clausen, Hayfield Police Department. End of watch, March 13th, 1999. Jason Brent Meyer, Grand Meadow Police Department. End of watch, September 6th, 1999. Theodore Joseph Foss, Minnesota State Patrol. End of watch, August 31st, 2000. Travis Robert Bruce, U.S. Army Military Police. End of watch, March 23rd, 2005. Thomas Patrick Carroll, Goodhue County Sheriff's Office. End of watch, March 10th, 2009. Sean Stephen Schneider, Lake City Police Department. End of watch, December 30th, 2011. Loring Wallace Gunther, Dodge County Sheriff's Office. End of watch, September 10th, 2013. William Allen Matthews, Wayzata Police Department. End of watch, September 8th, 2017. Mark Edward Anderson, Olmsted County Sheriff's Office. End of watch, April 15th, 2021. Gary L. Schroeder Jr., Zumbrota Police Department. End of watch, April 17th, 2023. Matthew Hanky Ruge, Burnsville Police Department. End of watch, February 18th, 2024.
It's impossible to tell the story of Faribault Police Officer Henry Kaepernick without first telling the story of one of Minnesota's most infamous crimes. The Great Northfield Raid set in motion the tragic events that would lead to Officer Kaepernick's death on October 1st, 1876. Before I tell you about the raid itself, let me take you back to the year 1876. It was a year of celebration across both Minnesota and the United States as America marked its 100th anniversary as a nation. It was also a notable year in history. General George Custer was killed at the Battle of Little Bighorn. Famous lawman and gunfighter Wild Bill Hickok was murdered during a poker game in Deadwood, South Dakota. Alexander Graham Bell patented a new invention called the telephone, and a writer named Mark Twain introduced readers to a new novel, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Here in Minnesota, Faribault was a thriving and growing community, both a mill town and an important center of commerce for travelers heading west toward Mankato and beyond. In fact, it was one of Minnesota's largest cities, with only Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the river towns of Winona, Red Wing, and Stillwater being larger. Faribault's population, that same year, Sam Dunham was appointed chief of police for the city of Faribault at a salary of $50 per month, and new uniforms were purchased for Faribault police officers. In August of 1876, the James Younger Gang, led by the notorious outlaw Jesse James and Cole Younger, traveled north from Missouri into Minnesota searching for a bank to rob. After scouting several locations in southern Minnesota, they chose the First National Bank in Northfield. On September 7, 1876, the gang rode into downtown Northfield and attempted what would become known as the Great Northfield Raid. But the citizens of Northfield fought back. Gunfire erupted in the streets as townspeople armed themselves and confronted the robbers. When the shooting finally ended, 2 citizens and 2 members of the gang were dead, with all 3 younger brothers, along with both Jesse and Frank James, being wounded and escaping during the aftermath. The gang fled southwest from the city along what is now present-day Dodd Road, hiding among the woods, lakes, and fields of Rice County as posses from across southern Minnesota pursued them. Near Mankato, the gang separated and the James brothers escaped. The younger brothers were cornered along the Watonwan River near LaSalle, Minnesota, where another gunfight took place. After being wounded and captured, the younger brothers were transported to the jail in Faribault to await trial. Their arrival created fear and tension throughout the community. Citizens worried that the James gang might return to free the prisoners, and officers guarding the jail understood that danger could appear at any moment. Chief Dunham issued strict orders to challenge and stop anyone approaching the jail grounds during the night. In the early morning hours of October 1st, 1876, tragedy struck. At approximately 4 o'clock in the morning, a night watchman working his very first shift observed someone entering the yard. The watchman ordered the man to stop. The man replied, "Don't you know me? I'm city police." As he reached into his coat, the watchman believed he was drawing a revolver and fired his rifle. The man killed was Faribault police officer Henry Kaepernick. It is believed Officer Kaepernick had reached into his coat to display the 6-pointed star he wore as his badge. Officer Kaepernick was 29 years old. He was survived by his mother, stepfather, and several brothers and sisters. He was laid to rest at Oak Ridge Cemetery in Faribault, overlooking the community he served. Every September, the city of Northfield celebrates the defeat of Jesse James Days, commemorating the courage shown by ordinary citizens during the raid. It is a wonderful community tradition filled with history, reenactments, and celebrations. If you ever attend, and your travels bring you through Faribault, glance up the hill as you leave town toward Oak Ridge Cemetery. Take a moment to remember Officer Kaepernick, a young officer whose life was lost through tragic misunderstanding and whose service and sacrifice remain forever woven into the history of Faribault.
Oh, wow. This is not my wheelhouse, so if I open my mouth and nothing comes out, don't call an ambulance, okay? My name is Sharon Whips. I'm the eldest daughter of Robert John Montgomery, or Moravik. He's on the board over there. I was 7 years old when we got the knock on the door. Let me just set the stage. It was winter of 1955-56 early. Elvis Presley was just getting his start in rock and roll, and the 1912 jail in Lee Center, Minnesota was like a castle to me. It was active and working. The sheriff and his family lived on one side of the jail. There was an office in the middle, which consisted of one room, one desk, a file cabinet, a radio, and a calendar on the wall. I have a picture of that if you want to see it sometime. The whole Lee Sewer Department, Sheriff's Department, consisted of Sheriff Pat Smith Sr., my dad the deputy, and Aggie, the Pat Smith's wife, was a jailer. I thought she was just a nice lady. I did not know until I went to her funeral that she was actually the jailer. The courthouse was as majestic as the jail, and it was right across the street. The jail itself was 3 stories. It had a full basement. It had pigeons in the attic. It had hound dogs and a shed with coon skins on it. It was like a castle to me. This was my world. My mom had a cedar chest in her closet until the day she died in 2009. And in that cedar chest was all the memorabilia from my dad, his military service and his service in the Sheriff's Department. There were numerous papers that had articles about him, and I started writing down the adjectives that they were using for him. Humble, honorable, courageous, could diffuse a volatile situation, and fair. And he was a gentleman. But to me, at 7 years old, he was my daddy and I was daddy's girl. Then we got that knock in the middle of the night and our world changed. My dad was born in 1925. He graduated from high school at 17 and joined the U.S. Marine Corps in 1943 while World War II was going on, and he served till 46. He trained as an aircraft armorer, and he also played football for the U.S. Marines in Cherry Point, North Carolina. I understand he was very good in sports. He was in the Golden Gloves, football and baseball. In that cedar chest, I also found memorabilia, and there was actual correspondence from the New York Giants baseball team requesting him to come for tryouts. He married my mom, Kathleen McCaslin, in the year 1948, and then he had us. I had a picture made. This was us the night we got the knock on the wall. My sister was a baby, and I had just turned 7 years old. With that knock on the door, my mother became head of house. She was widowed at 27. Excuse me, my mouth is dry. She had 2 minor kids. She had no job, no car, and they had just bought a house, a little 2-bedroom house on Cordova Street in Lee Center. She had a high school education, and she was told at that time to go to the courthouse and get welfare. And she was a proud lady, and she said no. She went to the courthouse and she got herself a job in the welfare office. And I said the courthouse was right across the street from the jail. And Aggie, the sheriff's wife, the jailer, also took care of us for about 2.5 years. How did we survive? We survived by the grace of God and with the help of the Lesueur Sheriff's Department, County Sheriff's Department. Pat Smith Sr., his wife, and his son that was in the military at the time. He was in the Marine Corps, and he was re-enlisting, but they called him home and he was authorized as deputy. And they helped us through the nightmare and the aftermath, right up until the current sheriff, Brett Mason, in Lesueur County, who helped Bob's grandchildren and great-grandchildren with a tour of that 1912 jail. He took them through and shared all his memories, the history of the building. My mom was a tough lady. She was strict, she was disciplined, she was beautiful. She could have been on any one of those World War II pin-up calendars that the soldiers had in their lockers. She was a good lady, but she was tough. You didn't want to talk back to her. There were consequences. When my dad died, she received Social Security death benefits for us girls. I was 7 and my sister was a baby sitting on my lap. And she received $50 from me a month and $50 from my sister. And with that money, she bought us a savings bond, if you know what a U.S. savings bond is. And she bought one every month until we turned 18. And when we graduated from high school, we had money for an education. We were a small family. Bob had only 3 grandkids and 4 great-grandkids. The oldest great-grandson is a member of the U.S. Space Force in Colorado Springs right now. The oldest great-granddaughter just graduated from high school and is going to college in the fall. And the other 2 are just in junior high and high school. They missed a lot, but I think he missed more. Whew. Advice. Sheriff Torgerson said, "What advice do you give?" One of the 2 things would be, make sure your affairs are in order, officers. My dad did have a life insurance policy that he got when he was 17 when he joined the military. And he neglected to change the beneficiary. So when he died at the age of 31 with a family, my mom was told that if he wanted you to have the money, he would have changed the beneficiary. Now there's a sweet story too. Whenever you see anyone that knew your loved one, ask them to share a memory. Even if you don't know them. If they say, "Well, I knew your dad way back then," ask them to share a memory. You'll be surprised what you find out. Okay, I don't normally share Bible verses, but somebody here must need to hear this one, because when I was preparing for this, Sheriff Torgerson, this verse kept coming back, and it's John 10:10. And you just need to personalize it if you're going through troubles. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I, God, come to give you life and give it to the full. Personalize it. Give credit to where credit's due. God is a good God. He didn't break up our family. He didn't kill my dad. Give credit where credit's due. And remembering our officers Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, 4-star General Raisin Kane, who's been involved with Epic Fury right now with the war in Iran, made an update about 8 weeks ago, and he said, a soldier dies twice, the initial incident and the last time his name is spoken. I think that equally applies to law enforcement. A law enforcement officer dies twice, the initial incident and the last time he's remembered, the last time his name is spoken. So thank you. Thank you for the wall. Thank you for the ceremony. Thanks for saying their names. I just want to thank Sheriff David Rose for the Officer Down podcast. I don't know where you are. There you are. And his wife who helped. That's a treasure. You have a calling, sir. Sheriff Torgerson for inviting me to speak, which I don't do this kind of thing. And Sheriff Brett Mason for continuing. Oh, did you count the decades from Sheriff Pat Smith to Sheriff Brett Mason? It's 7 decades of assistance with our family. Now you know how old I am. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you, current officers, retired officers, and future officers. That's our story.
Sharon, you're a tough act to follow. My dad was born on February 10th, 1928. Sorry. He was born in Alta Vista, Iowa, and was the oldest, or the youngest of 2 children at the time. His infant brother died of SIDS. Of course, they didn't call it that back then. He eventually went into the Marine Corps and served in Korea, and then went back home to Iowa and met my mother, and they were married in 1957. He was an officer on the New Hampton Police Department for about 3 years, and then moved to Rochester with my mom to start a family. My sister was the oldest. She was born in 1958, and then my brother in 1960, and then I got to be the baby, the surprise, in 61. He was a really good dad, and I miss him every day. And we kind of have a similar story to Sharon's, whereas what her mother found out when my mom went to get benefits set up for my dad, she was told at the time by the head of the insurance company that law enforcement is not a stress-filled job. And she was instrumental in getting it changed to, that they got the benefits after that. My dad was involved in a lot of things with law enforcement it's on the podcast. Thank you, Scott. He was very involved with family and church. He was like in about everything that you could imagine. He and I did a lot together. Since I was the youngest, I was home most of the time. So when he was off duty and my mom was working, he was my caregiver. So I would be going around with him to like pay the bills or visit the guys at the police department, or just to do fun stuff and together, and we'd go on bike rides all the time. I was his helper in his calisthenics. I'd sit on his feet so that he could do his steps. I guess that's all I have to say. So sorry it was short.
Ladies and gentlemen, family, friends, law enforcement officers, and honored guests, my name is Barry Eustace. Today, we gather not just to remember, but to honor a man whose life and sacrifice still echo through the hearts of Waseca County. 50 years ago, on September 4th, 1976, Donald Eustace made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. As his 50th anniversary death nears, we pause to say, we have never forgotten, we never will forget. Donald, excuse me, I got a frog. Donald Eustace was my dad, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about him. My dad was born on September 24th, 1928, on a farm near Elysian, Minnesota. After moving to Janesville, and then later to Waseca, he faced hardship early, losing his mother at a young age. But that only seemed to strengthen his resolve to serve others. He served his country in the U.S. Navy from 1946 to 1948, and when he returned home, he built a life rooted in community, family, and duty. In 1952, my father began his law enforcement career with the Waseca Police Department. A year later, he joined the Waseca County Sheriff's Office. In 1966, he was elected sheriff, taking office in '67. He was re-elected twice, serving with integrity, compassion, energy until that fateful day in 1976. Waseca County is a small county, and it has a small sheriff's office. With my dad being sheriff, we had only a few deputies and a few volunteers. My dad responded to calls at all hours of the night and day, and it would not be unusual for him to leave the house in the middle of the night to tend to some emergency. To battle the small staff problem, Sheriff Eustace drew on a readily available resource, his family. His wife, my mother, was his secretary, female deputy, office manager, jailer, cook, and anything else he needed. He also utilized his 9 kids in some ways. Our home had 2 telephones listed in the phone book. The first listing was Donald Eustace, and right below it was not a name, but it said children's phone. The kids were able to use that phone, but no one dared touch my dad's phone. But when that phone rang, all activities in the house stopped. Like Pavlov's dogs, we would watch him and we would wait to see if it was business. He would hang up the phone, call out a couple of names, and those kids would run to his car, jumping in his car, waiting to respond to the call. He took us to accidents to help him. He took us on welfare checks. At times, he even deputized his sons and were given special assignments like staking out the local lumber yard, looking for people who were helping themselves to lumber in the evening. He used to do blood runs. He used his kids to do blood runs, dust for fingerprints. And on one occasion, he even picked up 2 of his sons to help him search for armed assailants who just held up a local grocery store at gunpoint. Life with my dad was never boring. Our weekends were always the same. When it came to supper, my mom would cook a very large supper, and then would cook enough for the inmates in jail. Then, prior to sitting down as a family, she would send a couple of her kids up, and we would take the food up and feed the prisoners. We would return home when supper was waiting. In reality, my dad had 2 different groups to draw upon. One was paid by the county, and one was free to the county. My father was also very community-minded. He loved working with younger people. He was a cub master. He started the Waseca Blue Jay Booster Club. He was responsible for starting the holiday wrestling tournament in Waseca, and after his death, the name of the tournament was changed to the Don Eustace Invitational. He started the Waseca County Posse, was on the Volunteer Fire Department, organized and ran Knot Hole Day with the help of the Recreation Department. He would send busloads of kids up to Bloomington to the Twins game, and each child received a can of pop for the ride to the game. He went to schools in the county and spoke to the kids about the dangers of drugs in his own drug prevention program. This was long before anybody heard of DARE. He started an activity for older youth called the Teen Canteen, where youth would be able to listen to their live bands and dance at the fairgrounds. He would book the band, set up the venue, and then clean up after each event each month. He started a snowmobile posse. The snowmobile posse was created to respond to people during the winter storms where cars had difficulty getting to people in rural areas. He was given the Governor's Safety Award, and he also received the award for Waseca's Outstanding Young Man. This award is still given to people every year in Waseca, and it is named now after my father. He led the Minnesota Sheriff's Association as president, worked with Hubert Humphrey to make Waseca one of the first counties in the state to receive radios in their cars. He was a problem solver. When Waseca did not have an ambulance service, he took it upon himself to start one. He convinced one of his friends to start an ambulance service. Now this friend he picked had no medical knowledge. He had no first aid knowledge. He actually owned a gas station and was a mechanic. But, like a friend, he never questioned my dad. They just figured out how to make things work. He started that ambulance service and ran it for many, many years. One of my dad's passions was helping troubled youth. Along with Malheur County Sheriff Carmen Halstenson, Steele County Sheriff Bud Kufal, Olmsted County Sheriff Charles Von Wald, and Hennepin County Sheriff Kermit Hedman, he started the Sheriff Boys Ranch in Austin. When he was president of the board for the Boys Ranch, he worked with the state legislatures to buy the Nike missile base in Isani to start the Isani Boys Ranch in 1973. As his term for president came to an end at the Boys Ranch, he decided, they dedicated a new gymnasium to him, which bared his name until it closed. He also worked with Sheriff Pat Smith from LeSueur County to open up a group home in Waseca. This group home housed kids from LeSueur and Waseca counties who were having some behavioral problems and needed some respite care. And to no one's surprise, 4 of his 6 sons worked at the boys' ranches, and 2 of them worked at the group home. My dad and mom opened their home to many people who were in need. It is not unusual for my parents to bring home kids or entire families. Some of these people even stayed with us for a day or two, some stayed for years. On one morning, I came downstairs before school and saw 2 unknown kids sitting in the breakfast table eating breakfast. They looked tired and they looked lost. My mom instructed me to get them some toys before I went to school because they might be with us for a while. I found out later that day that their father had killed their mother in a domestic dispute. These 2 kids stayed with us for a couple of months until they found their forever home. We also had a family of 7 from Oklahoma stay with us for a couple of days. My dad brought them home, fed them, gave them a bed to sleep in, and helped them get their car repaired so they could be on their way. It was estimated that my parents had over 200 different people spend time in our family, in our home, that were in need. Along with everything I mentioned, my dad was seen as a problem solver in Waseca County. On a regular basis, he had people stopping by the family home to talk to him. Some made it into the house to have the conversation, while others never got out of their car. My dad would help them problem solve by leaning through their open car window. He was the go-to man for kids misbehaving, for marriage counseling, chemical issues in a family, and any other problems people may have had. The consensus in Waseca County was, when you had a problem, go talk to Don Eustace. On the morning of September 4th, 1976, my dad and his chief deputy went to a rural farmhouse in northwest Waseca to serve mental commitment papers on a man that they knew. After getting out of the car, they saw him standing behind the door on the screen porch. They greeted him. The man kicked open the screen door, lowered a 12-gauge double-barrel shotgun, and fired. My dad was struck in the chest and died instantly. He was 47. He went to the farm that day believing, as he always had, that kindness and friendship could reach even the most troubled soul. As the Waseca County Attorney said at the time, Don literally laid down his life upon the cardinal belief that every man could and would be his friend. The death shocked our community, that the tragedy is lasting good. The Don Eustace Memorial Scholarship was established to support students pursuing careers in law enforcement, and September 4th has been declared Donald D. Eustace Memorial Day in Waseca County. 50 years later, what endures is not just the memory of death, but the example of his life. Sheriff Eustace showed us what true public service looks like: tireless, hopeful, and courageous. He protected us not only from each other, but sometimes from ourselves. He lived life to the fullest and gave everything he had to his community. To you law enforcement officers, you stand in the footsteps of giants like Sheriff Eustace. Your daily courage reminds us that freedom and safety come at a cost, and we are forever grateful. I'd like to close with a short story. An elementary school teacher had recently moved to Waseca from Austin, and during the summer months, he and a fellow teacher painted buildings for extra money. They had done some painting for a local farmer and had not been paid. So, like most people in the county, they went to see my dad at the sheriff's office. They explained the problem, and after listening to them give their explanation, my dad got up from his desk, took something out of the desk drawer and put it into his pocket, and told the teacher to come with me. They got in my dad's car, drove to the farmer's house. You know, my dad knew the farmer. He also knew that he had been paid the day before from his place of employment. As they entered the yard, they saw the entire family outside working, and my dad and the school teacher got out of the car. I'm sure the farmer knew why they were there. He probably was embarrassed to some degree. As the farmer approached my dad called his kids over to him, told the kids that he'd stopped out at the farm to give them some circus tickets because the circus was coming to town next week. This is what he put in his pocket when he left his office. The kids accepted them, excitedly ran over to their mother to show them the tickets they had just received. Then, in a friendly manner, my dad explained to the farmer why they were there. The farmer handed over his wallet to my dad. He didn't have enough money for the entire bill, but it was close. So my dad asked the teacher if a little less would be satisfactory. The teacher grudgingly agreed. My dad handed him some bills from his wallet, but not all of them. As my dad and the teacher were driving away, the teacher, still mad, asked my dad why he didn't get all the money. My dad looked at the teacher and said, "You never take a man's last dollar." That was my dad. That was Donald Eustace. Thank you for allowing me to share with you why my dad is still remembered today. Have a pleasant evening.
The Liebenstein family was not able to attend tonight, so I'm just coming up here just to remind you to think about John and his wife Jean and their family tonight as well. You'll see on the insert, John was a big man, a gentle giant, they referred to him as, and he went out to help with this pursuit. He was on lunch break. He didn't have anything to do with the pursuit. He went out to I-35, had an idea where they may be coming off the interstate, tried to block the road, and he was struck and killed by the 17-year-old that stole the vehicle from the Twin Cities. what I want you to keep in mind for this family is the juvenile, he was 17 years old. He was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to mandatory life in prison. In 2016, following a U.S. Supreme Court ruling, inmates serving a life sentence for crimes committed as juveniles became eligible for resentencing or parole consideration. So for this family to have gone through everything they did with John, for there to be no remorse by the young man that killed him, for them to finally feel like they have that closure in a life sentence without the possibility of parole, and then to have that pulled from them just a few years ago. Very, very difficult for the family. The offender was denied parole in 2024. He was also denied earlier this year, and he's up for a parole hearing again in 2027. So I would just ask you to think about John, Jean, and their family tonight, and keep them in your thoughts and prayers next year when they go through this all over again.
Please rise. Firing party! Fire 3 volleys! Officers, hot hands, ho! Present, ho! Officers, order, ho! Officers at peace! Please be seated. I just have a few parting comments and thank yous. It's been a very emotional night, but we also wanted to say, we wanted to share, our board did, some thank yous to folks that have helped us get where we are. And that is some folks that have made some amazing donations and supported us throughout this past year. Before you leave, I hope you have a moment and take the time to walk around and view the benches that are now placed throughout the garden area. These benches were purchased by individuals as well as groups and families. I just want to mention those folks. To Brian Broughton and Jan Tronson, Free Speech Forum, the Bell of Honor. Randy Haley and his family. The Rochester Police Benevolent Association. Steve Borkart and friends. Jenna Gilbertson and the Steve Johnston family. The Police Athletic League. Gene Liebenstein and the Liebenstein family. Soldier Field Veterans Memorial, Terry Tronson. The Greg Lang family, Sue Lang. Andy Schifolius, and Titan Development. Others that we failed to mention last year, I just wanted to make sure that their names are heard, and thank yous are mentioned to those folks and organizations that have made significant donations over the past few years. Federated Mutual Insurance Company out of Owatonna, the Zumbro Aries Eagles, the Dover Fire Department, Firefighters Relief Association, William T. McCoy, American Legion Post number 92, Denise Hafner, and Dee Dee Outcall. Thank you. For tonight's program, I need to thank several people, and yes, their names are in the program, but they certainly need to be mentioned. The survivor family, the speakers, I know that wasn't easy. Thank you. Telling your story, though, brings them to life for all of us. Stories that we can now take and share. And that's the point of why we do that. Granted, we're not going to force anyone into doing it, but sharing those stories is so important for all of us to know and be able to carry on. Keeping their memory alive is our most important goal. Becky Schlegel and the guys are gone. Thank you. That last song, I believe it's titled Hero. Man, that struck a spot for sure. Roger Langworthy, thanks for jumping up and helping out with that opening prayer. Appreciate it. I was about to do it, but thank God you were there. I was so close to taking that first step. Our board, I'm going to get back to it in just a little bit. Roger Langworthy is with the chaplains group out of the Dodge County Sheriff's Office. Our honor guards have spent several hours training and preparing for this, both here at our site and helping us form this evening together. Steve Franks and bagpipes. Steve is up on the hill. Thank you so much. My mistake, my fault. Steve was here on the night of the 14th at midnight, texted me, but I was safely sleeping on my couch, thinking my alarm clock was going to go off, and Steve played Midnight Piper here on the 14th, and I wasn't here to record him, and I feel very sad for that, and very sorry, and And again, thanks Steve for all that he does, both as a board member and those amazing pipes. I remember when you started telling me you were going to start doing that, and I thought, you got to be nuts. But he has turned into one heck of a bagpiper. Captain Hodgman, thank you for stepping up, being there when I didn't even see you, wherever you went. Appreciate it. Chief Sherwin, Sheriff Doulis, Sheriff Thomas, again, your participation is so important to us. Scott Rose and our board, please, board members, if you can stand, you should have your blue shirts on somewhere. I just want to thank you guys. You're at all our meetings. You do so much work for this group. Yeah. It's a project of love, project of difficulties, but one that I think you can all be very thankful and say that you've really done something incredibly well for generations to come to enjoy this area. Thank you all for attending. The roses up here, please, certainly the survivor families, come up and take one home with you as one of our mementos that you can certainly cherish as we move on. There's other things that are coming up. I just want to mention Field of Flags is an event that happens during Rochester Fest here. It's a fundraiser, $10 a flag. You can honor anyone. We know that there's a lot of people that serve in our communities beyond our peace officers and all the capacities that we serve, but everything from we got the idea out of COVID when we all did. We all benefited from those folks working at the service station, being there to make sure we could get our gas and get where we needed to go. It's just everybody in our community, the nurses, the doctors, teachers. So if you have those people in your life, help us remember them at our Field of Flags coming up the end of June with Rochester Fest. There'll be information is on our website, and I believe if you can't purchase them yet, I believe we will have it set up very, very soon. And also, please keep watching and liking and following our Facebook and share all the updates that we will continue to have. Obviously, the Peace Officer Memorial sign will be placed on the capstone behind me very soon. Later this fall, our raffle will be going again, and again, we have to have those things. We have to raise money. We have to find ways to continue keeping this place a beautiful place and finish the project that we have been working at for nearly 20 years. And one other thing, another organization that obviously does help and support us all throughout the state, and this is kind of a big moment. I really should have a drum roll, Scotty. But this is special. So many of you I know have purchased law enforcement memorial plates. The memorial plate was again a project of love and care and support from our Law Enforcement Memorial Association board, the State Law Enforcement Memorial Association, and those license plates have been out there for several years. And Scott Rose and several others, our former Senator Senjum was a big part of getting that bill through and allowing us to make some money for the state association in honor of our fallen officers across the state. Well, I have it right in my hands. I can't believe I'm holding this, Scotty. The next rendition. You want to see it? Oh my God. I'm nervous. This is cool. This is, well, here you go, folks. Ta-da. So it's a nighttime view of the state memorial. And I'll keep it up here. I think I might have to hang on to it so it doesn't go home with somebody. But this, we hope, is on its last phases of approval for the state of Minnesota. If you're not aware of it, there's a lot of bureaucracy at the state of Minnesota. And to have this here now, I can't believe it. We've been working on this thing again for a while. And it takes a while to get some things done, but this is absolutely beautiful. You do have to come up and take a real close look at it. I can't wait to have it. It's going to look great on our car, Laura. You betcha. Wow. So, lastly, thank you all for attending again. Thank God and thank Mother Nature for behaving tonight. We couldn't have done this without a little cooperation from Mother Nature. And so thank you for attending. Thank you for all of those that were here. And for the rest of you that are not here, we'll certainly keep you in our thoughts and prayers. So I'll turn it over to our chaplain. Thank you.
Please stand for the benediction and remain standing for the retrieval of colors. Heavenly Father, we gather here today united by a common bond. You have imbued us all with life and calling, and today we come before you to recognize those who took hold of a call to protect our communities and made the ultimate sacrifice. They sacrificed their lives while protecting our families and our homes and our communities and our way of life. May we remember, support, and pray for their loved ones, the wives and husbands who will no longer feel the warmth of a simple hug at the end of the day, the children who have no one to answer when they call out Daddy or Mommy, and the parents who have to bury their own child. Help us to remember, support, and pray for their friends and coworkers, the ones who will never again see that quick smile as they enter the squad room or be assured by hearing their voice on the radio saying that backup is on the way. The ones who will have to once again stretch just a little farther to keep that thin blue line from breaking. Help us to remember, support, and pray for their communities, the neighborhoods, counties, and states which will have one less protector patrolling the streets. One less guardian ready to answer the call day or night without regard for their own safety. But most of all, Heavenly Father, help each of the members of the law enforcement community to remember to honor their loss by always serving with honor, humility, and professionalism. Help them to remember to use each day they have left in this noble profession to be a positive influence on everyone they meet. Help them to remember that their every word and action should be a fitting tribute to their sacrifice. And to those fallen brothers, sisters, partners, and friends whose memories continue to guide us, let us salute them. Rest in peace and know that they will never be forgotten. Amen.
Guys, please. Present. Mark. Order. Mark. Ready. Move. Left. Face. Forward. Mark.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.